Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zelda Universe Podcast. Happy holidays, and thank you so much for joining us this lovely December season. My name is Connor, and it is wonderful to have you all here. Joining me with me this time on the podcast, we have Matthew. Hello, Matt.
Howdy, sir.
Thank you so much for being with me this fine, afternoon? I guess it's evening for you.
I'd say it's evening. Well, no, yeah, it's afternoon for you,
Technically. Time zones are wonderful.
It's a 2-hour difference, I believe, between us. So for me, yeah, we're in the evening here. I'm still waiting on some rain to move on in.
I would
ever the meteorologist.
Well, it's nothing but rain where I'm at. We get snow.
I know.
Once or twice in the year, which is a little sad because I grew up in Michigan and there's already snow over there now. And this time of year, you want snow because it's Christmas and holidays and New Year and all that fun stuff that we get with this time of the year. And that's kind of the stuff
I tend to work with a bunch of people who do not like snow because since we don't get it very often, nobody around here knows how to deal with it, and therefore everybody panics. So 1 inch of snow will just shut everything down.
Well, all I can say is that is consistent for pretty much everywhere that I've ever lived, and I've lived in a lot of places that do and do not get a lot of snow. And I was thinking, we don't get a whole lot of snow in Hyrule, except in very specific areas. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom gave us the most snow that we have ever really seen in Zelda, except for Oracle of Seasons, which a quarter of the time it was nothing but snow, which was kind of cool.
You know, one of the things I do love about Zelda games is that they do take into account all of these kind of different meteorological effects and environments, that kind of stuff. And that's something that has always really excited me. There's a lot of environmental beauty within Zelda that I think tends to be kind of underplayed by and overshadowed by the story, the overall story of it. But the Hyrule is beautiful. And any land that they talk about, or let's say in Majora's Mask, when they're in Clock Town. I think it's called Clock Town, I think, right? Yeah, Clock Town. That area is still beautiful. And when they go into the mountains with the snow and everything, and then you get to see it, while it's covered in snow, and then after it's partially melting and has a springtime effect, it's just really cool. And those kind of things, especially when I was growing up as a kid, I absolutely loved that. As part of my experience growing up as a developing meteorologist, that was something I really, really loved about Zelda games that I didn't get to have with other types of genres when it came to video games, So I love all those atmospheric kind of details that the creator really just put a lot of time and effort into making sure we're prominent. And I would say one of the most, I think they really ramped that up for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That's when they really focus on environmental impacts because you have to dress a certain way to survive in some areas. You know what I mean?
So utilizing your meteorological expertise, here's an interesting question for you. What, I guess, kind of climate are we looking at for Hyrule? Where on a hypothetical globe would Hyrule most likely be sitting?
Well, it depends on which Hyrule.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Wind Waker Hyrule is very tropical, while
if you're talking about like Oracle of Seasons, that's a very strange kind of meteorological environment there. Because in that kind of situation, I mean, you're dealing with the weather changing absurdly and unexplainably so. I couldn't really explain that professionally, but as if I'm talking about, let's say, in the land of Majora's Mask, or like the Wind Waker. The Wind Waker is fascinating because as a water-soaked world, I have to wonder why more areas aren't just perpetually covered in rain. It's a tropical area, tropical land. If they did, though, avoid any snow entirely. And I think that kind of dovetails very much into like the Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks with having, again, no snow. There's no snow anywhere in those, And,
well, there is. There are specific islands and regions.
Was it in Spirit Tracks they had snow?
Yeah, Phantom Hourglass, there is one specific island that has snow, and then in Spirit Tracks there is the snow... might have been just the snow region in the northwestern square.
Square, okay. We'll call it a square. We'll go with that. And
I want to say it's the snow...
It's that grid pattern.
I want to say it's the snow region or the snow domain, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think one of the more fascinating landscapes has to be the Twilight Princess design setup. And that's because there are some unexplained just chasms. I don't understand what the heck is going on there. It's just there are holes in the land in between regions.
Are we talking about the canyon holes or the fact that the Twilight Realm is opening holes everywhere?
They're just straight dead drops down as if like the entire land has suddenly had like a jigsaw puzzle had some pieces fall away for no reason,
Look, there's a lot of connections between Hyrule and the goddesses. It's obviously very holy.
Yeah, it is holy. That's very true. That's very true. I would say it resembled the Twilight Princess resembled a lot, very much Hyrule back in
where literally everything was falling apart.
Worlds. Right. Yeah. I mean, there had huge chunks of land that were just disappeared because of the fact that they decided to destroy the Triforce in the land of Hyrule.
Oh, that's ooh.
But in Twilight Princess, obviously, the Triforce was very much there. But it was weird that the land resembled that kind of
interesting thought. Aside from the obvious, we have to make sure that Link isn't going places where he shouldn't be going. I know,
but they did that. They did that just fine with Ocarina of Time. They didn't have to do that. They didn't do that in the past.
You have two ways to make barriers. You either make walls or you make holes. They decided to go with holes.
With Wind Waker, they just made you turn around.
That's true. But how else are you going to show a endless sea?
And I mean, Twilight Princess is the only one that has these unexplained gaps in landscape that I can think of. They never really talked about, In Hyrule, in Link to the Past, they explained it. Like those gaps, those holes. Well, that's because the land was being torn apart. But in Twilight Princess, they never really explained why. As far as I know, I mean, I might be wrong. There might be some hidden lore gem out there, but as far as I know, I don't remember them ever explaining that.
No.
So it kind of made me think like it might have been just programming gaps for, to make sure it could squeeze into the size of the mini disc for the GameCube version. If it was purely just to save space.
Hello, everyone. This is Zach with Zelda Universe.
Hi, this is Sarah, also with Zelda Universe.
It's redundant for us to say that, because presumably people would be like, oh yeah, they're on the Zelda Universe podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But
we're both on columns.
Right, we're both on columns.
And podcasts.
Yes. Columns, editors, and writers.
Various, different hats.
And it's that time of season where hats are so important. You
yes.
gotta have... if you celebrate it, you gotta have your Santa hat.
Maybe like a Link hat as well.
A Link hat with like a little ball at the end.
Yeah, some people call it a beanie. I don't know.
A toque?
Is there an official name? A toque if you're Canadian like me.
See what I did? I told you I did research beforehand.
You did.
A beanie.
You did
yes.
so much research.
I'm really
so
good.
proud of you.
It's the librarian in me. But no, like a beanie hat of some sort. Yeah, to keep your little ears warm. Those are really the only hats I can think of that are like winter specific. Down in the comments, Let us know what hat you would wear during the winter. Just during this season. Perfect.
Yeah.
They don't have comments on podcasts.
Especially if you were in Hyrule for the holidays.
Exactly.
They do on YouTube.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot this is also posted on YouTube.
So YouTubers, leave us a comment.
Exactly.
So, we are here to talk about holiday-themed gifts.
Right. Well, Zelda
holiday-themed gifts.
Right. Yeah.
Any Zelda-themed holiday gift.
And
did I get it right that time?
Yes, we got it. We nailed it. Yeah. So, I mean,
First
obviously,
take,
if we're all dorks here, and we love that title, I'm sure
That's
that
a given.
we've all gotten some great.
We wear it very proudly.
Exactly. I mean, I proudly say I write for Zelda Universe.
Is there any other way to be?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, same.
So, around the holidays, you get your gifts. It's really a good way to show somebody you care. Get you something that you've really wanted, and a lot of times that's for us gaming related, presumably, right? Specifically Zelda. So. What has been your favorite? Let's start off with you. What's your favorite Zelda themed gift that you've received for the holidays?
Well, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about for this segment, I reflected on all of the Zelda merchandise that I have, and it occurs to me that most of the Zelda memorabilia I own has been gifted to me by someone else, with the exception of like a few controllers, my digital copy of Tears of the Kingdom, and like a few Nickety Knacks. I don't know. I guess I'm just a spoiled child.
Hey, that's great.
Or I just don't really own that much Zelda stuff. But yeah, because like games, consoles, all of that I've gotten for Christmas, pretty much. I have a few favorites. I don't have like one single favorite, but I have a few things. I have this ugly Zelda Christmas sweater that I got from a friend a few years ago. And a lot of my guy friends try to buy me clothes at Christmas. And it just strikes me that like men don't really know how to shop for women's sizes. No, I feel like
we don't.
You would, given that you have like 3 women in your household. I do,
but the best way I know how to shop for.
But you gotta learn it. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and also like ask, like. Right?
Yes.
Just be like,
ask all the questions.
I guess here's advice to my fellow clothing buyers for a female. So, whomstever you may be, just ask. There's no harm in being like, hey, I'm thinking about getting something for you for Christmas or your holiday of choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Just what size sweater would you like if it's a big cozy sweater, With my wife, we buy one size up because she likes to be cozy in the sweater, but I ask questions.
And everybody has a different preference. Exactly. I think that and like men try so hard. But anyway, so this sweater is like, because it's like a unisex small, it fits me like 2 sizes too big. But again, cozy, right?
Right.
And so whenever I wear it, like my mom always sort of hints that she doesn't think I should leave the house wearing it. And then again, my mom's like one of those people who will like tell you to your face if your outfit is ugly.
That's the point of the sweater, Mom.
I mean, no, and I tried to explain. I was like, it's an ugly sweater. Like everyone's doing it, Mom. Like, don't judge me. But she's right. It's kind of hideous.
Who's on it?
And I don't really wear it then. And it's just like a green and brown, like basically Link's tunic colors. And it's got like a Hylian crest.
Oh, nice.
Triforce. I don't know what to call that. The Triforce with the wings around it. Is that like
Hylian
the
crest,
family crest?
I mean, that's what I call it.
Right. So that's on the middle. I don't know what to call it. And it's got like little snowflakes on it. It's actually what you would imagine. Pretty standard,
that's
right?
Cute.
You see the same version everywhere. It's pretty cute.
It's like that shirt that all the men wear with the khaki shorts, right? With that thing? Or is it the Skyward Sword one?
Yeah, so men and women can wear
like
it, for sure.
Well, I'm just saying like the...
No.
You know that stereotypical guy outfit?
It's not meant to be... Well, it's not meant to be like the laser printed ones that you see that are meant to be a redesign of like Link's outfit, right. Like Link's various tunics from different games. It's supposed to be like its own. It's just like a Christmas sweater. I don't know, Zach. Like you just gotta know.
I'm just putting you on the spot here. I'm asking a follow-up question to, your shirt.
It's an ugly Christmas sweater.
That's great.
It's really what you would think.
I saw one with
and it's really
Testu
nice.
on
But
it.
it makes me laugh just because when I think about my friend not knowing what size to buy me. But yes. Yeah, you can get all kinds of different versions. I saw a Yu-Gi-Oh one too.
Nice.
I tagged my friend in that because he's a Yu-Gi-Oh super fan. I was like, you have to have this.
Well, he's the king of games.
You can get pretty much any nerdy. Yes. I love Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Yeah, so that's one of mine.
That's great.
I don't know.
I see. I don't have a whole lot of like Zelda themed clothing. I got rid of a lot of that when my wife and I started dating. When I'm like, I have to not wear screen printed shirts, and now it's gone full circle. So my absolute favorite Zelda gift that I've got, I got last year actually. So we celebrate Christmas, and I come from I married into a very large family. My wife is the middle of 7 kids. So it's great. I mean, and that's kind of normal for like the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a bunch of, but I mean, like,
I have a huge family too.
yeah. So
Can relate.
the struggles, and she's the direct.
I have like a
center.
million cousins. I mean, yeah. Okay, interesting.
So we
so many people.
with how many people we have, we do drawing for every year for like who buys presents for who. So we're only buying like one gift,
One gift.
And my
It's like Secret
my
Santa
brother-in-law
kinda deal.
like wrote a program so that it like randomly assigns, like he coded something to randomly assign us.
Like an AI.
Yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. So last year, my brother-in-law got me a wall hanging, the Z from Breath of the Wild with the sword in the center, like in that logo, right?
I think I've seen this. You might have sent me.
I did. I sent it. Yeah, I put it in our Slack chat. And
I can visualize it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's this nice wood. It's hanging up in my office at work. Because I get more compliments on it there. More people see it.
Right.
So I'm like,
right.
Hey, you check this out here. And working with kids and everything, it's like, hey, look, how do you do, fellow kids? I have a Zelda on my wall. Zelda's the girl. Did you know that? I knew that. But yeah, it was a very thoughtful gift because like
so
he
was
also
it
married into the
handmade?
family.
Was it?
He didn't make it. No, he ordered it. But it was a handmade thing, right?
Somebody.
Yeah. Like
Nice.
he had married in as well to the family, and so like we're both in-laws, and we like the first thing we bonded over was Zelda, and it's just it was one of those things where like because we have nothing in common. I mean, he's a gym rat, he's an insurance guy.
Oh, but I'm sure you have something. Everybody, yeah,
and it was just something
not
that
on the surface,
really
but
like,
yeah, for sure.
Right, and then Tears of the Kingdom came out, and we were talking about that, and it was great. It was a really nice present. Very very.
He did his
thoughtful,
research. Clearly,
he did.
Yeah,
he did his research, but
and that's what matters, right? Especially on Secret Santa.
Look, when it comes to buying presents, you do your research, and you ask your questions.
That's the takeaway.
That's the takeaway. You ask your questions.
Well, yes. Well, speaking of Secret Santas,
Mm-hmm.
We do a Secret Santa columns every year at Zelda Universe, and it's like
Correct.
probably the event that I look forward to most during the year. I live for Secret Santa.
That's awesome.
But when I first joined Zelda Universe, I participated in Secret Santa while just being like super new.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably here for about like a month, and I didn't really know anybody, but I was like, yes, I'm in for Secret Santa, like totally, even though I know 0 people here. And so I got this really cute Tetra figurine from our friend Claire O'Mara from Columns. She was my first Secret Santa. Yeah, and that was like the most thoughtful gift ever because so a few of us who were new at that time had been asked, like, you know, just as like a getting to know you thing, like, what's your favorite Zelda? What's your favorite piece of Zelda music? What's your favorite boss battle? And like a few other things like that. And we had all volunteered, some of that information. And Claire had remembered that I said that Tetra was my favorite character. And she bought this little figurine and sent it with like a little note. And I still have it. It's on my dresser. Thank you, Claire. It's the sweetest thing ever.
That's one of my favorite parts about the column Secret Santa 2 is that like people just write each other notes as well, like to send things. I feel bad for people overseas, just because like shipping is bananas, and a lot of times you lose that little personal part. But I actually had Caitlin the other year, or a couple years ago. Caitlin drew it.
Yeah,
she had me, I should say, and she sent this little stuffed platypus, because she's from Australia, and I loved it. It was amazing. She's from Australia. And I was so excited to play with it.
Oh, yeah.
Or not play with it, but, like have it, put it on something. And then my dang kids took it. And now I don't know where it is.
They took it.
She just...
They hid it somewhere.
Scout,
it'll probably show up.
It. I don't know. It's lost to time at this point. But I loved it. Because there was also a nice handwritten thing, and it was talking about how... something about the platypus and just some random trivia about the platypus as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a big trivia guy.
Did you?
So it was nice.
Interesting. Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a big trivia guy. Do you have any other like standout gifts that you've had, even just gaming related? Like, did you ever get a console for for Christmas or for holiday?
Well, I got a GameCube for Christmas one year, and that was probably the greatest thing.
Nice.
With the Zelda Collector's Edition.
Yes.
I don't know if you're familiar. You must be familiar. You're a GameCube guy,
silver,
right? Like
the silver
you've
one.
said this.
Yes. When it has the 4 games?
Yeah, and it's got 4 greatest games on it, and the 20-minute Wind Waker demo.
And, I watched
which
the
kind of saved my life because...
Oh my god. The retrospective on that,
good.
I watched
that's the greatest thing
multiple times. Every day.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. But when I was relying on Blockbuster to rent Wind Waker because I didn't have it at that point. I had to rent it every other week, and when I couldn't, the 20-minute demo was the greatest thing ever.
Right, exactly. Got to get that fix.
But the story behind this is better because the GameCube, that was a makeup gift for my dad screwing up previous Christmas gift that he gave me. He gave me a copy of Ocarina of Time for the N64 year previously, and I already told you about this, but so I owned a Super Nintendo at that time. It was actually my brother's, who sort of handed down to me. And my dad bought me, because I was always bugging him for Zelda. I was I want Zelda games. That's all I want to do. I was really into this. Is 8-year-old me. And so he bought me this copy of Ocarina of Time. And you know how, when you're a kid, everything seems possible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I opened it thinking, I have this. This is a cartridge. The Super Nintendo takes cartridges. If I open it up,
it should
put
work.
It in, it'll totally work. Right?
Yeah, it's the same
and then
thing.
my brother, just kind of crushed my dreams. And he very snidely was like, well, what's she going to play that on? She doesn't own an N64.
Was that Big Brother?
The game had to be
older
returned.
brother? Or?
Oh, yes. Of course.
Classic older brother move. Right.
Classic older brother
classic.
snide. I was like, no. It was so classic. And I ended up getting Ocarina of Time. I had to wait a while.
Yeah, no,
But I really was obsessed with that game.
You got it for it. That's actually really funny. So the only time that you owned Ocarina of Time
right, man?
was for a console you didn't own, and then the next year you get the console, a different console
with the game,
and you can play Ocarina of Time.
It was better.
I would agree.
Yep.
That was my first experience with Ocarina
and Majora's
of Time
Mask.
as well. Yes, actually, not my first Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
I played Majora's
became
Mask
my favorite,
for the first time at a hotel. You could rent an N64 at the hotel, and I played it. It was really weird, but no, that's awesome. That is such a sweet story, and it's well. I gotta ask. So, you opened Ocarina of Time, right? Were you then kind of like, oh, okay, there's an N64 under there too?
Yes. I don't even think I thought that at the time.
Okay.
Because again, my childhood mind was thinking, no, this is going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
And then, no, and I think I didn't really think that my dad was going to give me an N64.
Makes sense, yeah.
Maybe I did.
I mean, because that's
we ended up bringing it back, and
like, as a parent,
but
you know,
when we brought it back, I got to choose like a different, like whatever game to replace it. But at the time, they weren't selling like retail, like Super Nintendo games. I think that Game Boy Color was really what was in. So I got to pick a Game Boy Color game. And I had a choice between Oracle of Seasons or Ages and Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. And I ended up going with Super Mario Brothers, which I don't regret at all because I love the heck out of that game.
I get it.
I always wonder, like, what could have been? What could have been? Right?
I was a Seasons guy. That was, you know, that was
I'm playing it now on Nintendo Switch, and
you know, those games you got to experience handheld. Absolutely, they're hard. They're way harder. Maybe I'm just not good at video games.
Don't say that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but you are no. But you're a 2D Zelda person, so for you to say it's hard, that's not good for me because I'm not a 2D Zelda person. I want to be.
I am notoriously bad at video games.
It's just the way it is.
I am just not good at them. So,
you can't be that bad. I don't believe that at all.
Oh, I'm really bad at it. No,
I don't believe that at all. No. Well, we'll have to have a competition to see who's worse because I seriously doubt you could be worse than me.
Well, that's such a sweet story. I'm glad that, you know, it ends up having this like really nice cap on it, you know. I had gotten Nintendo
Did I interrupt
DS.
you? Did you have something to add?
No. I was just saying my console I got was console, quote unquote. I got a DS, like an old DS, like the brick one. When they went like the first
DS that
wave.
wasn't light. The DS heavy.
Yes, the DS heavy with the screen that's like the size of
that's what it should have been called.
Well, I mean,
yeah, super chunky.
It was light blue. It was a light blue one. I got Nintendogs with it. And then I put a
my god, I was just gonna ask that.
Zelda bumper sticker on the top of it. That was a great Christmas gift. I screamed because I was so excited. It was a great time. Yeah, it was last year.
I think I had a similar reaction to the GameCube.
Well, I mean, like, come on, like that's a big gift.
But okay, let me ask you: do you still have it?
Okay, so it's really funny.
I still have all my stuff. I still have my GameCube. I still have that copy.
Right. I didn't play.
But I'm a bit of a hoarder. But
well, I mean, it's important stuff. You know, you got to keep it. For a while, I had stopped
everything
playing video games. I know. Oh, what? You can do that? You can stop playing video games? The shirts I wore in third grade would say otherwise.
Phases.
But, sorry, grade 3, not third grade. I know you're Canadian. I'll translate for you. But my mom played this game on my DS called Zookeeper. And it was kind of like one of those. It was like a match 3 game before they got like really big. And I mean, it was a fun game. I liked playing it too. But she played it like she played it every night. Like she played it more than I did. So it went to her.
Your mother?
My mother. Yes.
I wish I had parents who could play games with me.
Well, this was a single player game.
My parents. They don't do games. My parents were too old. They're from the pre-tech generation.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it is what it is. But we still, you know, we stand a non-tech family sometimes, you know. These kids with their iPads. No, kidding, obviously. But no, and I mean, of course,
it's a good idea.
What? Just to stop or what?
Keeping your kids away from like phones and stuff for as long as you can.
Oh my god! Well,
I think it's positive.
You know, I say that, but my daughter, my 6-year-old, she's really into Minecraft. So we've got a lot of she can play it by herself. Like she's so good at it. I'm talking like, oh hey, you know, kids these days, except for mine. You know, she plays a lot of Minecraft. I've been trying to get her to play Zelda, because they have the older ones, on the Switch, so it's easier to move around. I feel like on a like the Game Boy style. So I'm like, yeah, let's play it, and she's, Dad, this is boring, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool, kid. You think this is boring, huh?
Minecraft is
Ask
for
me about your
this
dance
generation.
recital.
Like it's definitely.
But you want to talk about boring? No,
I don't know if it's the customization and the world building aspect of it is definitely something that kids really like.
100% with my daughter. It's she can spawn in all the animals she wants to. Like the game chugs along for her, like chugs so hard because she has spawned too many animals in her world. And I'm like, you realize that
That's cute.
This is why the game is so slow. And she's like, I like it slow, Dad. I'm like, okay, all right. We've gotten a little bit off topic, but it
that's
just
okay.
it just goes
better
to
you
show
than me because I do it all the time.
there's
I'm bad for it.
we all have those gifts that are really really close to your heart. Especially around the holidays. It's a great way to do something meaningful for someone you love or care about. And, I encourage all of you listeners out there to just buy a gift for somebody. Buy a gift for your friend. Or, better yet, make a gift for your friend.
And write a little heartfelt note.
That's even more
important.
important.
Which is what I do.
Like, write something nice.
Yeah.
Just do it,
Yeah.
And just
I've started to rethink Christmas
exactly
more so this year because I'm cutting back a little bit, and I'm just this year for a lot of my friends we're just going to do activities or a games night or a trivia night or something that doesn't break the bank but can still you can enjoy your time together and just
exactly
it doesn't have to be about buying stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Grinch had it right. In some ways, the Grinch had it right in some ways. Take away all the sparkly things, all the the toys and all that. Just let it be a bare bones, because it doesn't matter. It's gonna come, and people are gonna be happy.
As long as we have each other.
As long as we have each other.
That's right.
We can defeat Ganondorf with the power of friendship.
All the monsters. Yes.
So
what I
we
feel
would
like
love
you
to
just
hear.
Proposed a My Little Pony Zelda crossover right there.
It's 100%.
Can't wait to see it.
And I'm sure if you were to Google it, you'd find it. So my apologies to the editors for this episode, but
it's
hey,
all
we
his
had
fault.
fun. I'll take the blame. That's fine. So down in the comments, let us know, what is your favorite Zelda themed or gaming themed gift that you've received. It doesn't have to be holiday related, but what's the nicest gift, Zelda gift that you've got? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear it.
Zara, do you have anything else?
Those comments. No.
Okay, great.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
In 1998, Christmas, it's the only time I distinctly remember getting a...
Just saying the year you gave it away.
I'm just saying, this is the only time I remember getting a Zelda-themed gift was in 1998 Christmas, when we got Ocarina of Time. Now, since this is the end of 98, it wasn't the cool, special gold cartridge, but it was Ocarina of Time. And I was so excited, except there was... I had an older brother, and he was still playing video games at the time. So he got to play it first. There is family recorded video evidence of this, as I think it was my dad, who goes over to the family room. There's Logan playing Ocarina of Time. He's in the Deku Tree. And then there's me over by the computer. Because Logan took Ocarina of Time from me, I took my younger sister's Sailor Moon computer game, and I played that before she did. So we're just running it down the line. Sharing in quotation. This was a really, it was not the best Sailor Moon game. I just I have played better Sailor Moon games in the years since.
This was made actually by a friend of mine.
It's funny because Zelda games, for the most part, in my knowledge, rarely came out for the Christmas rush. So most of the time, I remember getting Zelda games not during the holiday season.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, well, yeah. Honestly, the thing is that they were so good, they didn't have to. A lot of gaming companies do time their releases out right toward that part of the year. I know Blizzard has done that, like with a lot of their games, like with World of Warcraft and StarCraft and that kind of stuff. And I know we're focused on Zelda, so I'm not going to talk any more about that. But when it comes to, I mean, you stole my answer when it came to like a favorite Zelda game or Zelda gift. I have to say it was Ocarina of Time, because it's the one time I got a Zelda game from my grandmother, who has already passed since then. But it was, I mean, Ocarina of Time, it broke barriers. I mean, it was a phenomenal display at the time of graphical ingenuity, of unique textures and mechanics and that kind of stuff in the game. And opening that up, playing it, somebody should have arrested me because I was addicted. So it was not a healthy level of gaming that I was doing once I opened that cartridge.
Well, don't worry. You don't get arrested for addiction. You only get arrested when your addiction causes trouble for other people. Speaking of which, I believe the official term that they were looking for was nerds.
That's what I was saying. I was like, no, you're not dorks. Dorks just mean you struggle with.
I mean, I'm a dork
to impress others.
I fully admit my dorkness, but my dorkiness is only tangentially related to my nerddom.
Right. Well, I mean, I being a dork is not something you're proud of. Being a nerd is something you can be proud of.
I'm a dork. I don't care. I think I'm a dork. I don't know. It was really funny.
You don't care, but you don't go around bragging about it. You're just like, hey, everybody, hey, McCleskey, come over here. I want to let everybody know here in the workplace, I am a dork. And then have everybody just start going, all right, man, nice job.
To be fair, to be fair, you don't announce to the whole work office any of these things anyway. Hi, I am a nerd.
They usually already know.
It's blatantly obvious when you're getting awesome gifts that you can put on your wall and be like, yeah, I got a Z.
What I thought was awesome, when he talked about having a giant Z with a sword through it, now that is cool. And I don't care. At my TV station, I would hang that up in the weather center, and I would field all of the weird questions asking me why in the world I had that in there. I would happily answer that, and I would say, well, I was bestowed this gift. And it represents
bestowed
this princess.
What a great word to use. Bestowed.
It was bestowed upon me. This majestic timepiece. It would be, I would proudly display that.
While this is not something that has been gifted to me, I do have a polo shirt with the Hylian crest on it. And I love wearing it because I get to wait and see if anybody I'm interacting with recognizes it. So I can be like, yeah, look at this nerd over here.
I don't think I have any Zelda-themed clothes. I think I mentioned to you in the past that I was thinking about using as a background shot just all of the Zelda games that I own and just posting those on the wall. And then having that be my background, because everybody else has figurines and collector's items and that kind of stuff, but all I have are all the games. And with everything going digital nowadays, it's just not the same. But I still have the old-fashioned Nintendo 64 cartridges. I have the GameCube disc. I have all that old stuff. Do you collect and keep those? The cartridges they came in?
I used to. I still have my NES, Legend of Zelda and Adventure of Link. I don't have the N64 or Majora's Mask one. I'm not sure where those went off to. I do have my Wind Waker. I'm pretty sure I have most of them.
One of the things that I've always done is with every one of these games, the first time I ever play the game, I always have that save file in it that I never touch.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah. I never touch that save file because that helps to also date when I got the game, when I first started it. And then if I wanted to go back in there and see just how badly I was playing it for the first time, I can find out everything I missed.
No, that's important.
It's a good way to keep myself humble, even though these are blessings.
No, that's important. I mean, I have posters of Zelda and all these things. When we're talking like the biggest Zelda gift I ever got, this was actually an anniversary present. I have a replica Master Sword and Hylian Shield, and they look amazing. And it's wonderful to get them. But the joy of this franchise, this series, is the fact that they are games. That they're experiences that you get to have and not just possessions that you hold. I mean, I can have, all the cute amiibos and everything that I can possibly get as gifts and whatnot. But at the core, these are story, adventure experiences. And so being able to look back at, yes, this is when I played Link to the Past and it has this kind of effect on me. Talking about Seasons and Ages, I'm so glad that they did because they are criminally passed over so much.
Well, you couldn't get them. It was hard to play them because they were out. Like, for me personally, I mean, those games came out when I don't know. I think it might have been just a time in my life when maybe they weren't very well advertised or what, but I just didn't hear much about them. They were on a handheld device. I think didn't those come out during Wind Waker?
They came out
the Oracles
close-ish to the same time. They were near the very end of the Game Boy Color's time frame, and so it was a little bit.
That's why. It's like, I mean, Wind Waker, GameCube was starting to it was just overshadowing them entirely. And, I mean, honestly, with some of the newer games, the graphics, they just spoil you, And you try to go from that back to Game Boy Color, and you have to really, truly only appreciate the lore, I think, sometimes. What I love is the fact that you can play all those games now straight off of the Switch.
It's wonderful.
It is absolutely amazing. There's a huge gold mine of games on there. I mean, you have to have that subscription, but I mean, honestly, that's a small price to pay to have that kind of library of games. It's amazing. Absolutely.
Anybody who is listening to this and has not taken the opportunity to experience the older Zelda games, even if you don't play them to the end, because they are older, shorter, in some ways a lot more challenging.
Doesn't matter.
Take some time.
Oh, they're very challenging.
Take some time and appreciate what has come before, because they are still wonderful experiences.
Hello everyone, welcome to the ZU Podcast. My name is A1 Judge J, and this is my friend Kokiri Claire.
Hello everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about specific winter topics in Hyrule, specifically about some of our favorite snowy and wintry locations in the games. So it's a bit of an interesting topic because for me, when I think of Hyrule, my first instinct doesn't really go to snow and winter location. It goes to the grasslands and forest areas mostly. But I think just about every Zelda game, at least all the 3D ones, have some kind of wintry or snow area. Even Wind Waker, which is all snow and ice, Wind Waker, which is all ocean, I should say, has that one island which is completely made of ice, which is interesting. Do you have any off the bat that you know about that are that come to mind? Not necessarily your favorite, but just some that you can think of that kind of fit that category?
Well, the one that comes to mind instantly is Majora's Mask, the Snowhead area. I don't know why, but that area in particular always kind of stood out to me, like when I think of snow or winter in Zelda games.
It's definitely very haunting. Just like the music combined with the winds for that place just makes it like, I don't know what it is. It makes it very, the whole point is that, Goron Hero died there, and the whole place is just like completely covered in just like desolate winter. But something about it just makes feel like totally lifeless. Definitely not one of my favorite places, honestly.
Yeah, it is kind of creepy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the whole MO of Majora's Mask, so I guess they got that pretty down pat, honestly.
Pretty much.
For me personally, my personal favorite, like, snow area in, like, all the games, I love, Snow Peak in Twilight Princess. Everything about that area is just, like, peak winter. Let's see what it did there. It's peak winter to me. I love the music for that place. I love the atmosphere and the environment, the sounds you hear. Like, unlike Snowhead, where it's like very like desolate and like it's desolate. It's like deathly. Like it's like if you stay here, you're going to get hurt. You're going to meet an unfortunate end. Here, it's like the I don't know. It's like the essence of like a beautiful winter to me. I don't know how to really explain it. It's like you go through, you hear the music, and like you're going through the snow, and like it's just these beautiful like piano pieces and like the acapella that you hear as you go through. It just gives it this like mystical feeling of like going through like a winter wonderland. Like it's more dangerous than any of the other areas because you're at risk of getting lost there, and it is cold, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, there's not as much of a risk to being there as there are the other, like, snowy areas that you come across in other games. Especially in places like Breath of the Wild, where literally, if you don't have the right clothes, you're going to die.
Yeah, that's very true.
That whole thing for me, plus the fact that it's attached to one of my favorite dungeons in the game, which is the whole, like, Ice Mansion house thing. Like, it just has, like, everything about it, like, perfectly. Honestly, just that whole area is just really nice.
I like that area too, especially the little, what was it, the snowboarding thing?
Yes,
with the Yeti.
when you snow on the ice.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I love being able to like trick your way through the shortcuts. I don't like racing his wife though because she's but I do enjoy I did love doing. I love the first way down because you listen to the ambiance as you're going down the route, so it gets you used to like seeing the sights as you're going down. You're just like, this place is gargantuan, like it is huge, and like you get a better view of the sky as you climb up, and like whether it's like night or day, but especially twilight, because I mean I guess they made it so that like every place looks better if you go there during twilight, which is the point. But, like, it just looks so gorgeous under those kinds of, like, under those filters. Like, it just looks really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I had to Google pictures because I kind of forgot how the area looked like. And I just kind of forgot how gorgeous the scenery is. I really need to replay that game.
It's a classic, honestly. Like, for the longest time, I mean, before Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom came out, that was my number 2, honestly. And then, those games came out, and then it was like, okay, well now we're number 2 because I can't knock off Ocarina. Speaking of which, I do love the Ice Cavern. Like I do like the feel of that place where it's like this, like, you can see it all the way back to when you were a kid. But like it's this, it's this little secret area you can see all the way back when you're younger. And you always wonder, like, how do I get up there? And, when you finally get the chance to actually go up there, even if it means, a place that you're familiar with being a warm and tranquil environment getting frozen over, which is sad. But seeing that you can go up to the Ice Cavern is, it makes it a lot more special.
Yeah, the Ice Cavern is definitely one of the cooler areas in Ocarina of Time, I think. I just made a pun. I didn't
I
realize that.
know. I figured. Yeah. What's your favorite?
Like in general.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite ice area in Zelda, or like a snowy area?
I still think I kind of want to say Snow Peak, even though it's not the most safe
You mean
for.
snow? You mean snow?
Snowhead. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting them mixed up.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I like Snowhead for some reason. I don't know why.
I will say it's very it's cool looking. Like I do love the the Snowhead Temple. It's got the fortress aspect down. It looks intimidating, which it accomplishes its goal. Like you see that in the distance, and you're like, oh, what is that? Like I don't want to go. Like you both don't and do want to go near it.
I know. I felt so stupid as a kid when I first played that game. I kept trying to roll towards the invisible Goron, trying to get into the temple, and I kept falling off the edge.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, why is this not working?
I wrote I wrote an article about this, but my copy of Majora was used, so I had a fully completed file, so I was exploring around there. So when I got to that point, because when you reset, all the past events reset too, so I had no idea that you had to put the Goron to sleep, or that there was even a Goron there. I thought it was the temple blowing me back.
Yeah, same.
So I kept rolling in vain, trying to be how do I get through there? And I was like, oh, what if I just press shield as the Goron? Then maybe then I could just duck under the wind, and that didn't work. And eventually, I don't know how, I just kind of what if I just play every song here? Maybe that'll work. And then one of them eventually did. And I'm like, oh, it was a Goron. Okay.
I know, and then he just kind of falls off the edge.
It would have been morbid if he didn't survive that fall. It's just I would say that I like the ice areas in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but they're huge. They're huge, and there's too many of them. You have Nehru's area, and then the Hebra area, and then you have the Gerudo Highlands. There's 3 different snow areas in those games, and they take up 60% of the map, and it's infuriating how much snow there is that you have to cross if you want to explore a lot of places, and how many mountains you want to cross, especially in Tears when there's icy walls and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it was really cool when you get to Hodno Village and you get to the quest where it's do you see that tree up there? And it takes you to the it sort of guides you to the quest with Nadra, which is that was a really good one. That was a really good thing. It made that area a lot more memorable for me. Especially involving the Spring of Wisdom. But, it just gets overshadowed by just how much snow there is.
I know. I'm still really overwhelmed by the size of that game. I still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom, but there's just a lot to do. A lot to explore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it is meant to be a game you just go back to over and over again.
Yeah, I should probably get back to that. It's been a couple months for me.
Yeah. Do you have a least favorite winter area? The one that you don't like?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if I do. Did Skyward Sword have one? I'm not sure if it did.
You know what? I actually don't think Skyward Sword had a winter area. I just realized it didn't have one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Even Spirit Tracks did. That's really strange.
That is strange.
Do you have any memories associated with those kinds of locations that you've been to before? Like in the Zelda games? Anything that sticks out personally to you?
I always liked coming across that one island in the Wind Waker. What was it? The Ice Ring Isle?
Yeah.
And I think you had to shoot it with a fire arrow.
That's right. Yeah, you have to shoot the ice dragon head thing. That was really, pardon my pun, cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, sailing at night and coming across that. It just kind of sticks out among everything.
Well, in the same vein, seeing the volcano island, because you have to cross that when you're doing the main adventure.
Yeah.
You cross it, but you can't do anything with it. But at night, it's a giant lava lamp. You're like, what is this? So it's the same thing when you see it later, the ice rink one. You're just like, whoa, that's so cool looking. What is that?
Yeah, because one you had to use the fire arrow to cool it down, right? And then the other one, you had to use
Cool
the
it
ice
down.
arrow. I keep saying these puns and I don't realize it.
I'm saying you have to cool down the ice rink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting tripped up.
No, I understand. For me, my favorite thing with like I don't know, like personally, memory wise, when it comes to Snow Peak, like I just remember like playing it with my friend. Honestly, he owned Twilight Princess at the time. I didn't, so I just watched him play it because I enjoyed like going through games like through the experiences of others. And like watching him go through like the like the Winter Mansion. It was really, really cool seeing like all those like how all the rooms connected and how like the dungeon is someone's house that a bunch of beast people live in. Like it's such a really neat concept. But it's like it's somehow like you could like it's believable. Like it's not too ridiculous. You could be like, this is dumb. Like you look at it, you're like this is actually like kind of feasible.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool dungeon. It was different, but it was definitely fun. And it was also creepy because you had Blizzetta. She was
I was just
possessed.
thinking about that. Like her as the boss at the very end, where she twists her entire head around.
I know. I was like, "What the hell?" when I first saw that.
I can't forget that. That was awesome. I mean, she might have been easy, but the music and like the fear factor associated with it is top class, without a doubt in my mind.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and like it definitely, like I think like both like the whole thing of like curing a winter area, making it warmer, is in of itself a beautiful thing alongside the winter area too. And like I think we're past this point where like I think they said it was okay to talk about spoilers, but if not, like you guys can cut this part out. But another favorite like recently was the I forget the name of the boat, but it's the boat in Tears of the Kingdom that you sent upward with Tulin. I would say that counts as a winter or a cold area because it's freezing up there, and I think it's snowing the entire time. Like, what an introduction! You're going up all these like magic boats to this like massive giant. Oh, it's the Stormwind Arc. That's what it is. To this giant boat in the sky. That's like that you can only see the silhouette of from a distance when it's like flashed with by lightning. Like it's so cool. Like,
That was pretty cool.
I don't know if that counts as a winter area necessarily, but like I think it counts enough. And like even though I definitely didn't, it was really sad to see Rito Village getting covered in snow. There was kind of a beauty to it being snow covered, like in the same vein as like seeing the Goron Village of Majora's Mask snow covered had its own kind of beauty to it. Like Rito Village also covered in snow kind of felt the same way, even though like I don't like being cold, but seeing it being kind of like holiday-ish in my eyes, I don't know. It was something about it was just kind of nice. But I don't know. That's just me. I mean, realistically, they were suffering from food shortage and literally possibly freezing to death. So I can't really say that I admire it too much. But I don't know. That's just a me thing.
I mean, at least like they had feathers compared to Link, who's kind of just walking around naked at that point.
Yeah, at least they could wear feathers or something. Yeah. That's about everything I can think of. Do you have anything else you can think of?
I don't know like what other big memorable wintry places there are from the games that I can remember.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, there aren't like a ton. I mean, there are like notable ones, but compared to like how many like forest areas and desert areas there aren't really like a ton that that you can really get to when it comes to like all the other games.
Yeah, true. I think we covered like the major ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give a special shout out to the Temple of Droplets, which is like the only ice area in Minish Cap. I do like the idea behind it, where like Lake Hylia has this like one little segment that's just like totally frozen over. I like the music there, and I like the gimmick of using sunlight to melt everything because you're so tiny. I thought that was neat.
That is neat. I like that.
Yeah, that was a cool concept. But yeah, I think that's everything. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it for our segments. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Alright, we will see everybody later. Thank you so much for listening in, and have a good holiday.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
My first time in Twilight Princess, going through Snow Peak, I remember everything being dark and foggy and gray. You're trying to go through this specific area so that you don't wander off and get sent back to the beginning. So you're in wolf mode for most of this whole segment, going up and around in these mountains. But I remember at one point I had inadvertently turned off the senses, so it was just me as a wolf, and the clouds had cleared, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And there are several points in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom where if you're paying attention, the overcast skies part, and the lighting and the atmosphere and everything coming off of the snow, it is some of the most beautiful pieces of environment design that Zelda has ever produced.
It is really nice. And that's why, like I mentioned earlier, like the environmental design, graphic design in these Zelda games, I think has been so underrated. You know, like they really did a lot. They focused a lot. They put a lot of effort and energy into making sure those looked really good. And I think they did too good of a job with those. And I say that because people just ignore them and assume that, well, yeah, that's what it would be like. And that's why nobody talks about it, because they did their job. They did their job very well, probably too well. And people are like, well, yeah, that's what it would look like. Rather than otherwise you would hear things like, that doesn't make any sense. That looks awful.
It's really funny when, this is a whole different discussion as we get into everyone complaining about aspect ratios and resolution differences or whatever, and you don't just take a moment and enjoy what has already been given to you.
Exactly.
And it is just amazing what they're able to utilize and design. Even though ice temples are probably the second most annoying temples, second only to water temples, so it's all water creating nothing but annoyances in our adventuring lives.
That is my least favorite place. And that's just because of how long it took to get through the water temple.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly having to change the water level, you know?
Yeah.
That was the thing. Now, granted, I get it. Like, it's part of the design. You have to try to figure things out. It's a puzzle. And that's great the first time. But if you replay through the game, which, I mean, I have replayed Zelda games so many times because I love the Zelda games. The second time, the third time, it's all those mechanics are very, very old. But when it comes to some of the areas, like anytime they do an ice temple or a snow temple or something like that, you know, like the Ice Cavern in Ocarina of Time, or Snow Peak in Twilight Princess, or Snowhead over in Majora's Mask. I think we got that right. I think
yes.
We were listening and we heard those names. They went over those names and a few times there, so I got them right now. When they were talking about that. I mean, I don't know, there's something about snow. It's probably because I grew up in Florida. And in Florida, people are like, ooh, ah. But then, you know, in the northern states, people refer to snow in a more derogatory fashion. So,
well, speaking as somebody from the more wintry climes, it's like comparing places that get a lot of water versus areas that don't.
Yeah.
In areas that don't, water has this generalized term, moisture. We're so glad
Yeah.
for this moisture that we are getting because that's all they care. That's all they know. Meanwhile, you come over to the Midwest or the Pacific Northwest or anything like that, and you have a dozen different terminology for the kind of precipitation that you're getting. And
true.
so when you're dealing with your situation is, oh yeah, snow, ooh. Meanwhile, up in Michigan, it's just like, okay, so how much we get? Is this a blizzard? Is this a flurry? Is this just a snowfall? Is it sleet? And we can go through this whole gambit of what exactly are we dealing with and what are we working with. My challenge with snow levels is the same as with water levels, is there is a purposeful slowing down of your character in your progression. Being in water tends to be slower. Changing the water levels is slower. When you're on ice, you have to go slower because either the snow is preventing you or the ice, if you are not careful, is going to send you places where you don't want to be.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's painful.
Especially if you have hover boots on while you're on ice. Yeah, good luck.
Wind Waker did the best with that. Because if you're running around on Ice Ring Isle with Link and you suddenly like try and stop, Link reacts. And I, to this day, I still use that reaction myself when something is going on and I have to like stop myself or stop something from falling. I'm just like, that is something
It
I
is
do
really funny.
a lot.
I love it. His expressions have melted the hearts of so many girls that I've attempted to date.
He's a good boy.
Yes, I know.
He's a good boy just doing his best.
And it's just so funny. We have a lot of these aspects of these games where seasons come into play, not just in Oracle of Seasons, where obviously that seasons were very much
That was the whole
related.
point.
Right, that was the whole friggin' point. Because in Ocarina of Time, they advanced time, but it was still kind of like the same time of the year. The season really didn't change. I would say Majora's Mask, Oracle of Seasons.
Well, look at it
based
this.
on what you did.
Look at it this way. Ever since Link to the Past, there has been a ice-related environment in every single game except for Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, and Skyward Sword.
There wasn't one in the first one, was there? They had mountains in the first one, but it wasn't ice covered.
They had mountains, but they didn't have they didn't have the technology to implement complex weather situations. And so from Link to the Past onward, that's where you started to get environmental challenges.
Well, they had Death Mountain. They had Death Mountain in the first one. So
yeah, but
there wouldn't have been ice.
Death Mountain was a dungeon. It was Spectacle Rock. And that was it.
Oh, that was all it was. Oh.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for joining with me for this holiday episode of the Zelda Universe Podcast.
You bet, man. It's been fun.
Thanks to all of our segment hosts. We're so grateful to have you all. Jory, Claire, Zara, Zach. Appreciate your thoughts and comments. Everyone who has been listening, we appreciate it. And have yourselves a wonderful rest of your 2023. And we will see you next year.